or treat! Hi, this is Corellica Kane here, and as a horror superfan, I was asked to do a review of an awesome movie that is called Season of the Witch, an uplifting tale about witches taking over the world. Wait a minute. Season of the Witch, Halloween 3. What the? Season of the Witch. You son of a... Witch lives matter too!
Remember to click like, subscribe, the bell notification, and whatever else YouTube has you clicking on to support us. Welcome, I am the Kaiju no Kami, and today it is glorious Halloween! I hope you've been enjoying yourselves this month, and I hope you enjoy yourselves tonight like I plan to do. Well, you might be wondering, well, wait a minute, the review title says Halloween 3, but he said he was going to do Halloween 2. Well, I have tricked you. I have actually decided to review Halloween 3 instead. What? Too corny? Anyways, Halloween 3. During the production of Halloween 2, Universal and the King Kong remakes producer Dino De Laurentiis joined forces with Mustafa Akkad and Erwin Leblance to film a mildly successful follow-up. As such, they greenlit the production of another Halloween film and asked Carpenter and Hill to return once more. They were reluctant, but agreed to do it under the provision that it be a movie that has nothing to do with Michael Myers. They had an idea to turn the Halloween franchise into a yearly anthology series in the same reigns as Tales from the Crypt and The Twilight Zone, but for movies. This idea was met with such great enthusiasm, so much so that Halloween art director and production designer Tommy Lee Wallace signed on to direct after having declined the Myers sequel. This movie would follow a new story with new characters and feature mythology dealing around Halloween itself, while also being a slight homage to the 1956 film Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Regrettably, the movie received negative results due to the lack of Myers, which is a shame. Is this movie really worth the hate that people gave it just because Michael Myers isn't in it? Well, there's only one way to find out, so let's take a look at the night no one came home. Halloween 3 begins with a man running and hiding away from some guys that look like the agents from The Matrix. He is caught but manages to kill one of them before getting away. Wow, such acting. With mechanical acting like that, he might as well just be a robot. An hour passes. How do I know an hour has passed? Simple, the movie told me so. And we are taken to a gas station where an attendant is watching a news report about one of the stones at Stonehenge disappearing. Oh, and this is where we get our first taste of the Silver Shamrock song, which will never leave your head after the first time you hear it. Oh my God.
8 more days to Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. 8 more days to Halloween, Silver Shamrock.
Please, for God's sake, please stop it. There's no more time. You've got to... Please, stop it. Stop it now. Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
The runaway man crashes into the gas station, so the attendant takes him to the nearest hospital. From here, we meet the great Tom Atkins as Dr. Daniel Chalice. Dr. Chalice is a deadbeat dad who tries to please his ex-wife and kids by buying them some Halloween masks. But their spoiled little asses don't seem to care, as they aren't Silver Shamrock ones, which their mom got them.
Nice try.
8 more days to Halloween, Halloween, Halloween.
Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
Anyway, the nameless man tells Dr. Chalice that they are going to kill us all when he sees the Silver Shamrock commercial appear on the TV.
There. kill us, all of us.
Yes, they. Who are they, you ask? Well, simple. They are the estranged cousins of them. Although, he might be correct, because with how many times that Silver Shamrock commercial airs, it is at some point going to just blow our minds.
8 more days to Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. 8 more days to Halloween, Silver.
Later that night, Agent Smith-ish kills the nameless man and then blows himself up. The next morning, the nameless man's daughter, Ellie, played by Stacey Nelkin, is called to identify the body. Wait a minute. If they don't know who this guy is, how do they know who to call? A few days pass before she visits Dr. Chalice at a bar to find out if her father had any parting words.
He said, tell Ellie I love her.
A bad liar.
Your father came into the hospital. He's hanging onto a Halloween mask. He wouldn't let it go. And what he said was, they're gonna kill us all. And in a little while, he was dead.
She takes him to her dad's novelty shop where they learn of his last location in a strange town of Santa Mira.
Santa Mira?
Where they make those. Little place, not too far away.
Yes, it is the very same town from Invasion of the Body Snatchers. They decide to head over there and Dr. Chalice blows off the weekend he was supposed to have with his kids.
Linda, I can't get out of it. I'm really sorry. Just a bunch of doctors talking about boring stuff.
You're a liar.
I'll be back to take them trick-or-treating, I promise. No, I can't remember the name of the hotel. I'll call you Monday.
Hold on again. If Halloween is Sunday night, and he says he's going to call them and talk to them on Monday, how is he going to take his kids? Oh, never mind. They head out to Santa Mira. The town is on the wrong side of the tracks. They decide to rent out a room at the motel while they plot out an investigation of the Silver Shamrock factory. While there, they also meet Buddy Kupfer and his family who missed their turn at Albuquerque when they were on their way to the chocolate factory.
Buddy Cup for San Diego. This is my wife, Betty. And right there's little Buddy.
Is it busted?
Ow.
Okay, seriously. Buddy owns a store that surges in Silver Shamrock's products, as does another woman who shows up at the motel named Marge.
My name's Marge Gutman. My shop's on Union Square in San Francisco. You can't miss it. Why don't you look me up?
Yeah, thanks, I will.
Bye.
That night, Marge is messing with the Silver Shamrock button. Oh, and what is Dr. Chalice and Ellie doing?
How old are you?
Isn't that something you should be asking before? Oh, never mind.
2 more days to Halloween.
Leave this commercial.
2 more days
Never
to
stops.
Halloween.
Man, these damn commercials are more persistent than a presidential campaign. The duo stop to figure out what all the commotion is outside and get to meet the town's owner, Kano Cochran, who has come to oversee the accident. Kano Cochran is played by the legendary Dan O'Harely, who you may have seen in other movies such as RoboCop, TV series like The Man from U.N.C.L.E., and heard his voice in various cartoons such as Pirates of the Dark Water and Batman the Animated Series. The next morning, Dr. Chalice and Ellie go to the factory and end up on a tour with Buddy and his family. Ellie notices her dad's car located in a garage there, but she is quickly denied entry by some of the agents. Day quickly turns into night as Dr. Chalice heads out to call the Marines without success, for the phones are inoperable.
Sorry, we cannot complete your call as dialed. Please hang up and
He returns to their room to find Ellie missing and a whole bunch of agents outside. Dr. Chalice flees the scene, giving us a very atmospheric stealth scene as he hides in the shadows on his way to the factory. There, he is attacked by an agent but kills him. before being taken prisoner, learning that the agents are actually automatons. What? You mean that they were acting robotic because they actually are robots?
Bless you. Convincing, aren't they?
That's ingenious! Wow! What a way to cover up the lack of acting ability! Nice job! Halloween morning arrives and Cochrane reveals his plans to Dr. Chalice using the missing stone from Stonehenge. Buddy and his family are taken to a room.
Mr. Cochrane will be here and everything will be fine. You know, I still can't figure out why they won't take my orders for next year.
Maybe they're not going to have Halloween next year.
Ha ha ha. This is just the same old stuff.
I mean, look.
Kids today, there's so much that bugs them. Buddy and his family die horribly. From there we get a montage of scenes spanning across the country. The strange thing is, the scenes on the West Coast seem to be later in the day than the ones on the East Coast. In fact, when you kind of think about it, Cochrane's plan has one major flaw: time zones. I mean, think about it. If he shows all his videos at the same time on the East Coast and the West Coast, he risks the possibility that parents aren't going to let their kids watch it on the East Coast because it's 9 o'clock in the West Coast. East Coast, it's midnight. Who's going to let their kids stay up till midnight for a giveaway? Not to mention it's no longer October 31st that day, so the whole Halloween effect is kind of lost. And then also, though, if he doesn't do it all consistently and it's 9 p.m. on the West Coast, 9 p.m. on the East Coast, the East Coast is going to get hit first by this plan. And then the survivors, because you know there will be some, are going to report what happened, and by the time it gets to the West Coast, it's not going to be working anymore because they're going to put a stop to the broadcast. And then also, what about the rest of the world? So yeah, I don't know if this plan is going to really work because time zones. Well, whatever. Cochrane locks Dr. Chalice up in a room with Halloween playing on the TV. Strangely enough, though, the movie itself is in the last 20 or so minutes, but the big giveaway isn't for another hour. So there must be a lot of commercials going on during that last act. Dr. Chalice escapes.
That's impossible!
And rescues Ellie before putting a stop to Cochrane's plans. Really? What the He's all like, oh, nothing's going on here. Yep, nothing at all. Like, what? How is that? Oh, never mind. The factory blows up, and just when you think all is safe, Ellie turns out to be a robot and tries to kill Dr. Chalice. Never mind. Afterwards, he runs off to the gas station from the beginning of the movie. Wait a minute. If Ellie's dad went from the bridge to the gas station and it took him an hour, how does Dr. Chalice get from there to there in like 5 minutes? You know what? Never mind.
Your phone. Where's it's life and death? If it goes out, it means the death of millions of people. Well, say it's a bomb, then say whatever you want. Say whatever you like. Just get it off the air.
Were the kids driving that car?
Well, want. Say whatever you like, just get it off the air.
Please excuse the interruption. We're having technical problems.
It's time.
We are experiencing technical difficulties.
The third commercial, it's still on. Please, take off the third channel. The third channel, it's still running. Stop it.
Which is the third channel? You're just saying the third channel. How is anyone supposed to know what you mean? Turn it off on the third channel. Sir, what is the third channel? Which channel is it? Is it PBS? Is it CBS? Is it Fox? Which channel is the third channel?
Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
And that is how The Night No One Came Home ends. So, did no one ever really come home? I mean, that doesn't make sense, because if they didn't come home, how would they be there to watch the giveaway on the TV? But still, the question is, what happened? Did they stop the broadcast? Did they not? Did Dr. Chellis lose his kids in this event, which then drives him to go to an isolated place like Antonio Bay, changing his name, and then he eventually comes across Laurie Strode on the run after what happened with Michael, and so on and so on? Most likely not, but you know what? I'm going to pretend that's what happened. Halloween 3 features a lot of plot holes and flaws that anyone with half a brain could figure out. Nevertheless, this movie has gone on to become one of my top favorite horror movies of all time thanks to its unique story, likable characters, and immense atmosphere. When you break these elements up, you can tear this movie apart from sunrise to sunset and still have more to rip apart. However, the three elements of the film synergize so tightly together to bring us one entertaining and engaging horror film. As I said before, Dr. Chellis is a deadbeat dad, some of it being because he's a workaholic, while other portions are from him being an alcoholic. However, the man's heart is in the right place, even if he does let his hormones control his life half of the time. He genuinely wants to know why Ellie's dad was killed and goes out of his way to save the world, or at least try to save the world, as it is unclear whether or not he actually does. Ellie is more there for fan service than anything else, but the one interesting aspect is wondering if she was a robot the entire time or not. After all, she just happens to show up after her father's death and instantly has this thing for Dr. Chellis. I like to believe she was a robot the entire time and that Cochran was playing Dr. Chellis from the get-go, hence how he seemed to know his every move. However, Tommy Lee Wallace states that she was not and was disposed of after she was taken prisoner in the last act of the film. As cool as that is, my theory is so much cooler. Conal Cochran is a really well done villain, and Dan O'Harely plays his part as perfectly as Donald Pleasance plays Sam Loomis in the original Halloween. This man can play a creep with finesse, and does it masterfully in the film. He may not have a lot of screen time, but his presence is truly felt throughout. His plan for world domination is an interesting one despite the obvious faults in it. All of the characters do a wonderful job of playing off of each other, especially the Kupfers, as they are a really likable, albeit strange family. Watching them die is gut-wrenching and shocking due to how good-natured they are. However, their deaths are what advances the plot and increases Dr. Chellis's desire to stop Cochran at any cost. The biggest negative comes in the form of a little subplot dealing with a coroner that really goes nowhere. Dr. Chellis gets this woman to look into the remains of the agent, and she finds nothing whatsoever. When she finally figures it out, she is killed for it before even reporting her findings to Dr. Chellis, making the 10 or so minutes spent on her pointless. Although the characters and plot may be lacking when looked at individually, this movie oozes with incredible atmosphere. The suspense builds up throughout the entire film, and the payoff at the end is well worth it. To be fair though, the ending may throw you off the first time you watch this movie, as it can be jarring to just have it leave off. Regardless, it improves with each viewing, and I wouldn't want it to end any other way. The lack of knowing the end result works so well with a film of this caliber. Add on top the outstanding synthetic score that both Alan Holworth and John Carpenter have provided, which really amplifies the intensity of each scene their sounds incorporate. It does not matter if it is the opening scene with Ellie's father on the run, The part where Dr. Chalice is playing hide and seek. Or even the Silver Shamrock song. This movie's score will have you at the edge of your seat at all times.
Come on. What's the matter?
Thank you!
Halloween 3 may not have been directed by John Carpenter, but it could easily be mistaken as being one thanks to its outstanding suspense and tension that is supplemented by likable characters and an interesting plot. It may not be the greatest horror movie ever made, but the production team has definitely mastered their craft.
Witchcraft.
With that said, it is time to bring Halloween month to an end. I have given you... Actually, wait a minute. No, that was a trick. I told you I was going to review Halloween 2, and I tricked you into Halloween 3. But you know what? I have one more trick for you because it's trick or treat. But in my case, I'm giving you a trick and a treat. So stay tuned later on today as I release my final review to bring Halloween month to a close. See you then. Bye.
Curfew is now in effect. Please confine your activities to your own homes. Thank you. Have a very pleasant evening.